Okay, today we're going to look at how to upload your CSLO assessment results into eLumen using the spreadsheet method, basically, instead of having to put them in individually, clicking on different scores inside of eLumen. We're going to just use a spreadsheet to upload all the scores all at once. So if you look over here, I have an Excel spreadsheet. This one's in CSV format. It's not an Excel format. It's in .csv. That's the format that I've downloaded out of Canvas. I have Canvas set up to track all of my SLOs and generate my CSLO numbers for me based on the assignments students do inside the class. And so once I'm done with the class, I can export a CSV spreadsheet that can then be uploaded into eLumen. So that's what, over here on this side, that's what we're looking at. This is one of my anatomy sections from the spring of 2020. And so over here on the left, I'm logged into eLumen. When you first log in as faculty, it'll pull up your courses, but you got to be careful because this is showing my courses for next spring, for spring 2021. So I need to change this back over to spring of 2020. So here's my courses that just finished up this past semester. This one right here, Bio 32, Human Anatomy, LO1 section. That's the one I'm doing over here. These are my outcomes for Bio 32, LO1, Spring 2020. So I'm going to upload all of these CSLO results into eLumen all at once. Now the way to do that is, again, first you have to have the spreadsheet, which I already have created here. Now a couple things to note on here. You can have more columns in this. You could have 100 different columns of data. So if this was just your regular grade book that you keep your students' grades in a spreadsheet, you could use that as long as you have a column for each CSLO result that you track that semester. You can see mine. I have CSLO number 1, the results there, CSLO number 2, CSLO number 3, number 4, and number 5. And all of the numbers for each student are on that 0 to 4 scale. That 0 to 4 scale that we use inside of eLumen. And so all of these numbers here are in that 0 to 4 scale for each of the 5 SLOs for this particular course. So that's very important. And these have to be whole numbers. All of these numbers here have to be whole numbers. You can't have 3.25 or 2.68 or whatever. These all have to be whole integers for either 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4. The other important thing is you have to have a column in your spreadsheet that has the West Hills student ID number. And it has to be in this 7-digit format with that leading 0. So you have to format those student IDs that are in this column. You have to format it in this way to where it's a 7-digit number with the leading 0. Okay. So and once you have that, once you have the student ID column and you have your columns in your spreadsheet with each of the results for each of your SLOs, that's all you need. You don't necessarily have to have the name column in here. You don't have to. And again, you could have a bunch of other columns over here. It doesn't matter, because you'll see why that it doesn't matter here in a minute. All right, so once we go in to eLumen, once we have our spreadsheet ready to go, formatted correctly, then all you do is you just go into eLumen, you log into eLumen, make sure you're in as faculty, you're not in as one of your other roles, make sure you're in as faculty in whatever discipline that the course is part of. It's biology for me. Then you go and you find, again, make sure you're on the right semesters. For me, it's spring 2020 for this example. Then you go in, find your course. Here's my LO1 section, and then you come over here and you go to where it says import scores, right? Here's the assessment. The assessment has been planned for this semester. The assessment's sitting there inside eLumen. This is something that if you don't see this for your course, then an assessment was not planned to your course inside of eLumen, and you're not going to be able to put any numbers in. You're not going to be able to put any of your SLO data into eLumen unless there's an assessment that has been planned to your course. But in this case, here's the assessment planned to my course. I go in, I click import scores here. It's going to ask me, for the type of file. Like I said, I'm using a CSV file. So CSV file, it'll ask you to find it, right? You go on your computer, wherever it's located on your computer. You find that outcomes or whatever spreadsheet you're using. You open it. There it is. Now you hit next. The next thing you're going to do is eLumen's going to ask you to identify which columns in your spreadsheet are for it to look at. So for the student identifier, I'm going to choose the student ID column. That's this column here, the student ID column in my spreadsheet, that column letter B in my spreadsheet. Then CSLO number 1, that is, I'm going to choose CSLO number 1 result. I'm going to choose that column. CSLO number 2, I'm going to choose that column. CSLO number 3, I'm going to choose that column. CSLO number 4, I'm going to choose that column. And then CSLO number 5, I'm going to choose that column. So now I've told eLumen where to look on the spreadsheet that I generated, which columns to look at to get the numbers that it needs, the ID number and then the results for each of the 5 different CSLOs. Then I just hit import. Scores imported successfully. I'm done. It shows that I'm done. I can go in if I want to. I can go in and look at this now, and all those numbers would be in there. So hopefully that helps you know how to do the CSV spreadsheet import of CSLO data into eLumen. It makes things much easier.